When you think of wrestling companies outside of the United States, the first place you really think of is New Japan Pro Wrestling. The company started back in 1972 with their strong style of wrestling, 35-minute banger matches. They've been able to capture fans from all around the globe. Today, I want to go over the history of the IWGP World Championship. To determine the first champion, the championship was on the line in 1983 in the edition of the IWGP League. This was a 10-man round-robin tournament, which is now better known as the G1 Climax. Wrestlers from every corner of the world competed in this tournament, including world champions from other international promotions. The winner of the tournament was Hulk Hogan, and he was crowned the first ever IWGP World Champion. Now, this version of the title, the V1, it was only defended one time a year against whoever won the IWGP League. The title itself was a wonderful design, especially at the time frame in 1983, with the circular main plate absolutely covered in gems of various colors, the bird at the top with lavish leaves under it. The title was fantastic. My only complaint really is how small and bland the side plates are. They're just outlines of continents with a bland silver background on it. Now, in 1987, New Japan would once again hold a IWGP League with Antonio Inoki winning. Unlike its predecessor, this championship was defended regularly and became New Japan's first premier championship. Now, Inoki, who was the founder of New Japan at the time, wanted to maintain the legitimate image that New Japan had cultivated, leading him to impose very strict rules for the title and its scheduled defenses. The title had to be defended when scheduled, and if the champions were injured, they would be forced to vacate the championship. The title design itself was very cool. The main plate was almost squished down to making it look a little odd, but odd in a good way because it made the title very unique. You had the IWGP logo front and center on the main plate, gigantic gems on each side, a nice array design of flowers and swivels going all over the main plate. The top of this title was so cool, and it was so unique, and it finished off with a globe being the top center part of the title. But the side plates, once again, were very bland. They were just metal shapes with IWGP Heavy W Champion inscribed on them, because they were too small, and this design was too small in general to have IWGP Heavyweight Champion on it. And then the IWGP V3 had a very bad aura to it. So in 2005, the V2 was awarded to Fujita, but during his reign, he retired it and gave it to Hashimoto's family after he had passed. Now, at that point in time, New Japan was on a downfall because MMA started doing strong business in Japan, and New Japan Pro Wrestling really became a thing of the past. And in an attempt to try to revitalize the fanbase New Japan had created, New Japan booked Brock Lesnar to win the IWGP World title with a brand new design, as you see here, the V3. And then eventually Brock Lesnar would be stripped of the title for being unable to return to Japan due to quote-unquote visa issues. However, Brock Lesnar claimed he was owed money by New Japan and did not want to lose the title to Tanahashi at the time, and he kept the physical belt, which forced New Japan to return to the second version of the title. The title itself was gorgeous. You have the IWGP logo in the middle, a circle behind it, outlined in red gems. The title was dual-plated with silver as the base and gold stacked on top. And they finally added possibly the best side plate design any company has had. It's a nice rectangle shape, and it has the names of every person who has held the IWGP title, complete with a globe on the top of the side plates. So Inoki left New Japan and created a new promotion, the Inoki Genome Federation. Inoki then recognized Brock Lesnar as the IWGP Heavyweight Champion due to Brock Lesnar not losing the title. And then on June 29, 2007, they held its debut show with Lesnar defending the title against Kurt Angle in the main event, in which Kurt Angle would go on to win the championship. And at the time, Kurt Angle was also competing in TNA, and he went in and appeared in TNA with the physical belt, and TNA also referred to the title as the IWGP Heavyweight Championship, in the same manner as the IGF did. They recognized Kurt Angle as the lineal IWGP Heavyweight Champion, but at the time, New Japan did not recognize Kurt Angle as the lineal IWGP Champion. Instead, it viewed Angle as the second IWGP Third Belt Heavyweight Champion. The title was used in TNA until the downfall of 2007, in which Kurt Angle started competing in New Japan again as TNA was fading out. And then Kurt Angle finally lost the title to Shinsuke Nakamura in a unification match at New Japan Circuit in 2008. And then on March 2nd, at Pro Wrestling 01's Max 7th anniversary show, Nakamura handed the title, the second and the third version of the title, away, and he retired it. And that brought us on the IWGP version 4. The IWGP version 4, it will never be topped. This is the best looking belt in the history of professional wrestling. You have a dual-bladed design. At the top, you have the lion with King of Sports, New Japan Pro Wrestling written around it. Dragons on the side, grommets and gems outlining the main plate, IWGP across the middle. The title is so beautiful. You keep the side plates as well with the previous holders' names. As you see, there's a list of names here: AJ Styles, Naito, Kenny Omega, just a bunch of legends on this title. So in 2019, the current IWGP champion, Naito, decided he wanted to make history by becoming the first ever IWGP Intercontinental and World Champ at the same time. Ultimately, Jay White ended up beating Naito for the IC title at the time. And at this point in time, Kota Ibushi was the number one contender for the IWGP World title. And he also expressed the same desire of winning both titles. And then after a fan vote, it was decided that Naito, Jay White, Ibushi, and Okada would compete at Wrestle Kingdom 14 in 2020 for both titles. Naito ended up winning the match, and the titles were kept separate for an entire year until Ibushi defeated Naito for both titles, as you see. And then he expressed his desire for the titles to be unified. And they sadly granted that wish on March 30th in 2021, possibly the saddest moment in belt history. The title was made by belt fan Dan, and it encapsulates all of its previous versions, and it has a unique shape to it. The IWGP logo is still there on the top, but not in a boosted out globe. The side plates with the wrestlers' names were gone away with. The title itself is not bad. It's a pristine looking title, and he did a great job on it, but it will never, ever top the IWGP V4. And I don't think any belt for the rest of wrestling will ever top the IWGP version 4. Nothing will ever beat that title.